Have we got some people joining us? I think we are here live. We'll just give it a second whilst we get people joining us. We were just saying this, all my videos start like, are we here? Are we live? Is it happening?
We're coming in.
We are happening. I'm not sure that's English either. Okay, so I think we'll make a start. I'm just going to arrange my screen a little bit, otherwise I'm looking at myself with a kind of 20-second delay, and it's incredibly confusing for me.
Wow.
That's better. I can see all the kinds. Oh, and Tony's there as well. Hi, Tony. So welcome everybody, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on catch up. Welcome to an interview with WiseOceans. My name is Charlotte. I know lots of you who've seen me here before. And tonight we are really excited to welcome Alex Skehel, if I said that right.
Yes, more or less.
Marvelous. Alice is currently working for the RSPB on a really interesting project. If you've been looking at our website, you'll see that there's a job going, so that we're tying in all of the parts of WiseOceans here today. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Alice's experience as well, how she's got to where she's got to. Exciting adventures in Galapagos we were just talking about there, which I know people will be interested in, and just a fantastic project that's happening in Norfolk and Suffolk right now with the RSPB, and exciting things in the future as well that you've got going on. So welcome, Alice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Charlotte, and thanks so much for having me.
You are very welcome. Well, it was a very brief introduction, but perhaps it would be great for people to know a little bit more about you. So, tell us about yourself. What do you do? What's your current position? How did you get there? All of that kind of good stuff.
Yes, so I am currently working as a project officer, so it's like a project manager for the RSPB. I protect beach nesting birds, which are little terns and ring plovers. They're gorgeous animals that nest in the UK on our beaches, and they really, really, really struggle to survive without fences or interventions. So I manage a team of staff that are seasonal and year-round to coordinate this effort. I got the job 2 years ago, but I started as a field officer, so I was one of the people that I would manage now. Yeah. We've just got our team for the season, so it's really exciting. And yeah, so I was first a field officer. I studied marine biology at university, so I kind of have that background. What else about myself? Where
did you study?
I studied at the University of Southampton. I did a 4-year master's and undergraduate course, and I actually did my 3rd year abroad. So this was in America, which was an amazing opportunity, and got me lots of sort of volunteering, and the more it really inspired my interest in birds, so I became more focused on marine birds, and that's where they
don't get as much focus. They're kind of, they don't get as much
celebration. Yeah.
No, they don't, do they? And
I guess if you're in the bird world, it feels like there's loads of interest in them, but maybe from a marine biology standpoint, you get less.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. From in my experience, and what you see around marine biology, the birds sort of don't seem to get quite so much love.
Yes, well, we call them, they're indicators of the ocean, because if you're studying especially marine biology, it's so hard to get out on the ocean and to learn about what the ocean is doing. So a lot of the time you can take seabirds as an indicator species. So they tell you how the fish stocks are doing, are there any pollutants or anything like that. So seabirds are a really cool snapshot into the oceans, and something that everyday people can interact with. the great thing about working on the project in Norfolk is that people come down to just have a great day on the beach, and they get to see a beautiful seabird right in front of their eyes. So it's great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So just before we talk a little bit more about the project, so when you finished university, you were talking about getting experience and things. Was it, what were the things that really helped you kind of break into where you wanted to go? What kind of things did you get to do and that made a difference to building a career?
Yeah, so I actually had a very good progression from university. I really found, doing my third year, as I said, I found a love for ornithology and marine ornithology. So I started doing a course, which was a small, like a mini dissertation type thing in seabirds, and I was pestering my lecturer a lot about doing volunteering outside of the classroom.
Pestering is an underrated skill.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, one of the benefits of pestering him was I was asking for opportunities outside of lectures, and I'd done this really cool study, which was doing stable isotope analysis in the lab. So you take a feather and you look to see sort of what the components are of it. And I was like, oh, you know, what other experience, what practical experience can I get? And he was like, the only thing I have is in Galapagos. And I was like, oh, well, what a shame.
What a shame. I couldn't possibly go.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, well, I definitely want to go. And he said, you know, I'd have to buy the flight, but you know, they supported with accommodation, and they got you there was a fee to enter the park. And so I went in as a scientist, and whilst I was there, I assisted on this expedition, which was 10 days camping, and I was just the field assistant, and I didn't know anything, and I was so keen to learn. We were doing a baseline health assessment of seabirds. So we got to work with frigate birds, tropic birds, shearwaters, petrels, there's red-footed boobies and blue-footed boobies, and we were camping in this remote site, and you know, you'd like wash in the sea, and you know, you have to have a composting toilet, and I had my little one-man tent, which I tried to like pin in the sand, so it kept like falling down on top of me. But I was just having such an amazing time, and I think I made a good impression. And after I left there, I kept asking to, you know, stay involved, and I'm actually about to publish a paper from that first expedition. Yeah, so
in the best possible way.
I kept pestering, yeah, and I'm still pestering 5-6 years on, and actually that person is going to be one of my PhD supervisors for this PhD I'm going to do.
Brilliant.
So, you know, by really finding something and pursuing it and doing that sort of extra effort and not letting it go. So my mum always calls it the grind, the awful stats, data analysis stuff that feels like it's taking up so much time. You know, you've got to spend time doing that, and the grant proposal writing and all of that stuff. So, you know, there's many
in order to get the scuba diving in Galapagos.
Yeah, I mean, I also did that as well, but
you have to do all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I think that thing about staying in touch with people is really, really important. You know, people go on, they do some volunteering, or they go on an expedition and things like that. Is, you know, maintaining those relationships afterwards, supporting them, sharing their social media posts, and being, you know, so you're the person they remember, because you're you're still kind of a positive part of what was going on, and you know, it's such a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think even things like micro volunteering is what we at the RSPB call like small opportunities about getting involved. So even, you know, you don't have to be flying out to all these places and spending money. It's just about going and getting in touch with a project that you're interested in and seeing what you can do where you are, because remote working has never been so easy. So it's just about making these connections first and doing little things to help. And you know, all of a sudden you build a relationship with someone and they're willing to support you. So it's great. Small opportunities. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about what you were doing right now, but I just wondered, in your current role now, what's a sort of typical day like for you? What's the range of things that you get to do?
Yeah, so a lot of my time, I have sort of two seasons. We have an out of season, which is out of the breeding terns. So they get here in sort of spring. So I'd say late next month they'll arrive from West Africa. So all of my time past Christmas is planning and preparing for the birds to come. So it feels really exciting when they get here. But a lot of my work as a project manager or project officer is doing things like managing people. So in the season, I'll manage 5 staff and up to 50 volunteers. So now my job is to give people all the tools and skills they need to go out and do the practical conservation work, and step up when shifts are needed to be covered. We do night shifts, so it's amazing to take a break from sitting at your computer and maybe doing managing to go out and tune in with the birds at night, because there's nothing like listening to the birds waking up in the morning and all of that kind of things. But
it's great that you still get to be in the field as well as the managing side.
Well, you've got to make sure that you understand what's happening in the field with your staff, and if you're not there being a part of it, I don't think you can be as good a manager because you're not seeing the full picture. But yeah, a lot of my time is spent managing, and day to day at the moment I am working on training our volunteers, and a lot of, I think, marine biology and conservation, as you start to get promoted, is about empowering people, so you can increase capacity for looking after the planet, basically, and all of the research and all of the amazing things that people can do. And that's always what has inspired me, and my long-term career goals were to help empower people to do work for the environment. So I feel great that I'm almost there.
Yeah, and absolutely in tune with what our values are here at WiseOceans. It's spreading that education, spreading the love and the passion, so that more and more people can be those ambassadors and etc. So absolutely, so this project that you've got coming on at the moment, do you want to talk a little bit more, because we actually do have a role advertised on our website right now. If I get to it, I shall put the link in the chat in a moment. By the way, if you've got any questions, put a question in the chat. We'll do our best to get to them.
Yes, so basically I'm advertising for my position. I'm moving on from the project, so I have another exciting position coming on. And yeah, so the role that we're advertising for is just project management. It's a permanent position, so it's an amazing chance to be in conservation and sort of take the next step. So maybe you've done lots of seasonal field positions and you're looking to level up in your career. This would be a great one for you. There's a lot of project management involved, so you have to manage budgets, you have to do expenses,
these days,
make sure everyone else has got their expenses done. You've got to do objectives, thinking about tracking your objectives and all of this kind of thing. So it's kind of getting more into the nitty-gritty of it, of managing a project and making things run smoothly. So that's the job that we're sort of advertising for. But yes, I have another position coming up, which is a PhD to work in Australia, which is very exciting.
That sounds very cool. What sort of area? I presume still in the a similar area or something different?
Yeah, so I will be studying the impact of plastics on seabirds in Galapagos. I have a grant that I have successfully got from the Galapagos Conservation Trust. They're a London charity, and they're amazing. They've been supporting me. So I was writing grants back when I went to the Galapagos the first time, so I already started writing grants so I could go back and do more research, and I spent the time in between the expedition sort of processing some samples, and I got a master's student working on it, but while I was working on this job, but we were looking in the preen gland. So a seabird will preen themselves. You see like birds like stroking their feathers, and what they're doing is they're rubbing a waxy oil that they get from a gland, and they rub them onto their feathers so they're waterproof. But this kind of like waxy oil is a substance that you can sample, and it's used to sort of detect nasty chemicals that the birds can pick up. So it's a sort of non-invasive way of looking at birds' facial tissues, because a lot of the time you'll find that some studies, to really find out what is inside the bird, maybe they'll have to make them throw up, or studies will actually go out and kill birds or look for dead birds. And in Galapagos, like there's so little nutrients that a dead bird would just be munched by all the beautiful little Ziapa crabs in seconds, so or washed away by the ocean. So you have to rely on non-invasive techniques, and of course, you know, you don't really want to disturb the birds as much as possible. So I feel pretty passionately about that kind of research. So yeah, that's the kind of thing, and we'll be doing nest plastics sampling and this, that, and the other. So I could talk about it forever.
Fantastic opportunity, and what a great thing to further the research on.
Yes.
So, well, it brings me nicely to a couple of questions really about the skills. You know, you talked about, like, obviously with your current role being advertised, and you talked about the range of skills. Are there things that perhaps when you were a student, I mean, you sound like you were really on it as a student, but maybe there were, you know, things that you never knew you would have, you know, skills that perhaps you wish you'd got earlier, or that you never knew you might need, that, you know, I thought it might be useful for other people to perhaps get those skills.
Yes. Yeah, I guess.
And we got I think we're frozen.
I can still.
Oh, no, you're back.
I think your picture was frozen, but I could still.
Or maybe it was me that was frozen. We're back.
Yes, we're back. So a lot of the skills I found were coming out of university. It's really easy to be lacking the practical skills, and working a sort of shore-based job. Things I've needed to gain after the fact were sort of a trailer license and experience with working in a practical level, you know, just drilling things, putting things together, planning to put things together. And then more from that project manager side is learning to manage budgets, learning to manage my own time and manage a team of people.
And say no.
Yes, learning to say no, but learning to say yes, and learning to empower people, I would say. And also learning confidence in your own abilities and finding your own voice in the workplace. Coming out of university can feel so daunting, and you get thrown into like a workplace or a volunteer scenario, and, you know, maybe it takes a little while to have confidence that maybe what you're suggesting is worth listening to. Yeah, and many people experience imposter syndrome early on in careers, and, you know, a lot of the time I really love this thing that I read that said, you know, if you feel like you're experiencing imposter syndrome in your job, it means you're pushing yourself and you're sort of raising the bar and challenging yourself in your career. But I think just managing that, obviously. But yeah, I've had to learn a lot about organizing my own time, and organizing 5 other people's time alongside a volunteer team of like 50 people's time. So a lot of time management.
Yeah, well, I mean, that, I was going to say, you know, are there any advice that you'd give them? But in fact, all of that is exactly the advice that you should be giving. You mentioned the volunteer team there. If there are people watching this, listening to this, who want to get involved, where do they go? What do they do?
Oh, we have a website. I can send you a link. We have some really amazing opportunities for volunteers. So a lot of our volunteers will either volunteer for a season. You can come down and do maybe a 1 week, 2 week sort of volunteering holiday. And it really puts you in a good place to apply for a job in future years. For instance, we've had a volunteer who put in a ridiculous amount of hours last year. I mean, he lived locally, so he had it much easier, but he gained all the skills and showed all the right enthusiasm for the job. So it just shows locally, if you find a volunteer project with seasonal roles, that is an indicator of a good progression.
You really don't have to jet off and pay money to get quality experiences here in the UK. So, you know, there are so many fantastic organizations like the RSPB, big organizations like that, but also small local ones as well, where you can really get and if you're good, it's like the world's best interview you're ever going to do, because you just get to shine all that time, and people know all the great things about you.
And the local wildlife in the UK is under so much pressure and in so much need of protection. And I think, you know, we really don't need to look far, as you say. Just any village or town or coastal area, nature reserve that you're nearby will be looking for volunteers. So,
absolutely, well, and I'm already thinking maybe I should do something.
Come to the Little Terns in East Norfolk.
Oh, wow.
Bring your camper.
Chatting before, certainly around that Norfolk and Suffolk coast is just an unbelievable place to, if you haven't visited that area, can I recommend it? And then, you know, catch the RSPB and go and find out about the Little Terns. And lovely. It's fantastic. It's so beautiful there. I was really blown away. I'd never really explored that area.
It's the beautiful large skies and sunsets, and the Norfolk Broads are amazing. And I got into moth trapping, and you see all these amazing moths that look like butterflies, and they fly in the daytime, and you're like, what? So it's a beautiful place.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm heading towards our final couple of questions, which I sometimes apologize because they're just too hard, I think. But then also some people just know exactly what to say. I would find them hard, but maybe that's just more about me. So I'm going to ask you what your favorite marine creature is and why.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't think I could do this role if I didn't believe that little terns and ring plovers were probably one of my most favorite marine creatures.
Tell us why they are so awesome.
They are just so precious. Honestly, they are so vulnerable. They, as I said before, they nest on our beaches. They lay these tiny, beautiful little eggs that are so fragile, and they would not exist without fences and volunteer teams and people going out protecting them. They have so many pressures. So we have an egg thief that regularly comes to try and steal the eggs. So we need to do night protection and have electric fences, and you have aerial predators like kestrels and hobbies and peregrines. I mean, I describe little terns like the pandas of the seabird world, because they're just so fragile, and it feels like everything wants to eat them. And but it's so important because they exist because they struggle because of human pressures. They wouldn't be struggling without human disturbance, and they're bottlenecked into these small colonies. So normally they would nest in colonies of 30 pairs, 20 to 30 pairs, and now they're nesting in colonies of 200, 300. So it creates like this really dense prey sort of plate, and you need to put
can eat buffet.
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and you have to put fences around them, and you ask people to put their dogs on the leads. And you know, the best thing you can do for them is volunteering. It's staying clear of fences on the beaches. You know, it's getting dogs on leads, and just being really conscientious. And we have a campaign going at the moment which is watch your step. So it's encouraging people to look down, because not just little terns nest on the beaches, it's nest on the ground. It's so many other birds that normally you'd expect birds nest in trees, but so many birds nest on the ground. And all with lockdown and everything, everyone's so keen to explore that little bit further place and find somewhere super remote. But I think we've got to remember to save some remote spots for nature.
I think very much so. Yes, absolutely. I like that. Hashtag watch your step.
Watch your step. Yeah.
Very good. Well, from chatting to you, I know that you've had some incredible moments in the sea, and maybe out of the sea as well, of course, with seabirds and things. But what is your most unforgettable moment in or on or under the sea?
Oh, can I give you two?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Thank you. Well, so one of them is doing night shifts on the beach, protecting the little terns. So you just really connect and tune in to their noises. And, you know, I did maybe my first year of doing the project, I did 2 sets of 5 night shifts in a row. So it's like 10 night shifts with 2 days off. And you just experience the summer, like solstice, and the summer on the beaches, and you get to connect to the ocean, and seeing the sunset and then the sunrise over the ocean like every day is just incredible. So yeah, on a local scale, I would say working on the little tern colonies. And then on a more international scale, I would say I had a really amazing night dive in the Galapagos. And actually we were snorkeling, and there was all this bioluminescence in the water, and there were so many stars in the sky, and there was like me and my other colleague, and we were like snorkeling for this species of shark which is benthic, and we were catching and sampling them, and we caught some, so we were just sort of sitting and enjoying the environment, and spotted eagle ray swam by. But you could see it in the bioluminescence, so it was like swung by.
I mean, they're great to look at anyway.
Yes, it was like mind-blowing, you know, when you're like, God,
this was worth all that time in the library.
Yeah. So yeah,
very
a couple of experiences there.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I think that's it. Hopefully, if anyone's watching this, that's inspired them. Some really great advice for our viewers there. A reminder to everybody, we've got lots of videos that people can catch up on, as well as written interviews on our website as well. So much fantastic advice for anyone who's either wanting to be a marine biologist, already studying, or early career marine biologist. It's just a fantastic resource, and added to brilliantly by Alice today. So thank you so much. If you want Alice's job, you can apply for it.
Yeah, you can have
the link is in the chat. Tony has very kindly put that in there for.
Thank you.
And we've got a couple of highs, one from Carissa and one from Ombre Chabert, I think. Says hi back.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us, Alice, and thank you for everyone for listening. And if you have if you're watching this on catch up and you've got questions, put them in. We'll try and get answers to you if as best as we can. And we will see you next time. We're going to keep doing these interviews on a regular basis. So we'll see you hopefully in a month or so for our next one. So thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye.